Welcome to Frickety Frack, we do talk back. Thank you for joining me this episode. My name is Patrick, and I'm Frack. Frickety Frack, we do talk back is a show where we discuss different aspects of fandom and how they relate to the Bible. So I'm going to be working through season 1 of The Mandalorian, episode by episode, and connecting it to different teachings from the Bible. And so season 3 is almost upon us. Very excited about it. And so when season 3 starts, I'll be doing season 3 as well. I look forward to that journey, watching those episodes with you, and so I'm looking forward to that. So the name of the show came from my dad, who dubbed my brother and me Frick and Frack since we were kids. So we are going over the episode "The Prisoner" of The Mandalorian season 1. This is the 6th episode of The Mandalorian, and it a lot of the times one of the things that I love watching on YouTube are how it should have ended and honest trailers. And this is one of the episodes that was generally very, very well received by the community. They didn't, they wouldn't make fun of this episode as much or anything like that. How it should have ended specifically says, don't mess with this episode at all. And so they didn't. But anyway, so it's a really great, fun episode. And so for what goes on in this episode is that Mando comes back into the fold with his old colleagues Ran, and has a job to do where he is going to be going to a New Republic security ship to free a prisoner from there. And so this is all laying a little bit of groundwork for the history of the Mandalorian and how he would have worked with former criminals and bounty hunters, mercenaries, those kind of things back in the day. And so we get this little bit of history, and Xi'an seems to hint at a potential romantic relationship. It's not really explored any further than some innuendo about from Xi'an, but I'm not really. So it's really kind of vague and mysterious. But that's one of the things that we love about this. About the Mandalorian is that we don't know everything, and some of it's kind of a big mystery still. And so this is a prison break episode where you've got different people for different jobs. We've got the muscle, we've got the wheelman, we've got the sharpshooter, and the crazy person, Xi'an. Mayfeld is the sharpshooter, and Berg is the muscle, and then Zero is the getaway driver, and Mandalorian is the one. They want the Mandalorian because his ship is what lets them get past security. And so throughout all of this, we get to, some great action sequences from the Mandalorian taking out all these security guards, and then once, the team turns on Mando, he then, takes them all down one by one, in special different ways. And it's all very well done, very methodical and great. One of the things I love about this episode is that there's some really great guest stars. I mentioned Berg, and his name is played by Clancy Brown. He is one of my favorite actors of all time. He was this great voice of the animated series Lex Luthor. He was the main bad guy in the first Highlander film. He's been in just about everything, and he's played multiple characters in Star Wars. And so that's one of those great things. Just getting Clancy Brown involved always for me is a great thing. He's a great villain. He's great gravitas. The Bill Burr playing Mayfeld, Natalia Tina playing Xi'an, Dave Filoni, Deborah Chow, and Rick Famuyiwa, I apologize for butchering that, were the X-Wing pilots. And Dave Filoni is one of the creators of The Mandalorian, but also one of the main leads in developing the Clone Wars. Deborah Chow is a regular director on The Mandalorian, and then Rick Famuyiwa is the director of this episode and of other episodes of The Mandalorian. And so all three of them get to be in the show, and they're great in it. And also Matt Lanter is the New Republic security guard on the ship. But what Star Wars people know him for is that he voiced Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars TV show, and does a great job. And honestly, no offense to Hayden Christensen, he is actually a much better Anakin, in my opinion. But that's, what you gonna do. All right, so the biblical theme for this episode is Proverbs chapter 25, verse 21 through 22. And this is what it says. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat. And if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. So this proverb is sort of slightly a little bit backwards from what Mando did. As I mentioned, the team of criminals and mercenaries that he teams up with, they turn on him. And so, kind of the hint that we get is that Mando was more than willing to work with them, but he also, he was going to do this job, get a little bit of money, and go about his business. Like, he wasn't going to, ruffle any feathers. He just wanted to get a little bit of, extra credits. And so to pay for fuel, supplies, because he still is on the run with the child. And so one of the things that they bring up is that, Quinn, the Twi'lek that is brother to Xi'an, is going to be, Mando is the one who left him behind at one point during a job. And this is what led to, them trying to break out Quinn. We don't know what happened, why Mando left him behind. But it's one of those things where it's just, once again, it's just the mystery. And so, this is, one of those little bit of things that are different. And so with this proverb, so what are we supposed to do with this and this lesson of from The Mandalorian? So when I was watching this episode, this verse came to my mind, Proverbs 25, 21 through 22. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat. And if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. So this proverb, for me, it makes me think of, when, Mando, he takes everyone out, but he doesn't kill any of them. In fact, he just arrests them. Now, he does kill Rand and Quinn, but that's, leaving Mayfeld and Xi'an and Berg still alive, that's one of those things where, he was a little bit of kind to them. But for me, what are we supposed to do as Christians? Now, I don't believe in killing anybody. And, personally, not, for those who might be military or things like that, that's a little bit different. But, I'm not going to, I don't have enemies that I'm going to, fight with on a daily basis. But one of the things that I did deal with growing up, it was being bullied. Big shocker. I love Star Wars. I love comic books, anime, all those wonderful nerdy things. Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I was fine with Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid, but I never played it, so I didn't really understand it at the time. But I love Dungeons and Dragons now. Anyways, and so one of the things that this proverb is teaching us that, we've also heard a lot, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. This proverb kind of goes a little bit opposite to that thought process. So, for bully or an enemy or something like that, if they're hungry, feed them. And if they're thirsty, give them water to drink. And so, what you're doing is you are showing them kindness when normally they would, in fact, show you, harm, oppression, evil, whatever you want to call it. But when you respond with kindness, it's kind of a shock to their system, much like if you were to pour heap burning coals on them. But I'm not telling you to heap burning coals on someone, because that would be wrong. But think about that shock to the system. Like, it's that much of a shock to the system that someone who they think should in fact respond with the same kind of bullying or mean tactics, that instead you show them kindness. And I pray that when you do that, that instead of thinking it's a shock to their system, to be like, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Like, I've mean to this person, I'm bullying them, I've attacked them, I've accosted them, yet they keep showing me kindness. And so that's one of those things where we as Christians are called to do that to those who are in fact persecuting us. Now, am I saying, don't defend yourself? If you are absolutely in danger, please do defend yourself. But also in that moment, remember to also show kindness. So I know that's kind of weird, and it feels like it's kind of like double talk, but that's where we have nuance and thinking and critical thinking and things like that. And so I want to encourage you that this week is that if there is a moment where even someone who doesn't like you or you don't get along with, show them kindness and see how that works, because no one else might be showing them kindness. So let's rate this episode. As I said earlier, honest trailer and how it should have ended really didn't mess with this episode very much. I looked on IMDb. It's one of the highest rated episodes of season 1. So this episode is just really great. So I'm going to give it a perfect 5. There's nothing I would do to improve the episode. The story's great. Acting's great. The special effects, the costumes, because Quinn and Cian are both Twi'leks, and their costumes look really great. And so there's nothing wrong with this episode. So if you want to watch a standalone episode of The Mandalorian, this is a great one. And you can't go wrong. There's really a couple of really cute moments with the child. So, it's got everything you'd want from an episode of The Mandalorian. All right, so if you disagree with me on the rating or agree with me on the rating, be sure to leave a comment below in the comment section. But also, if you have any questions for me about anything, it might be about this particular episode of Star Wars or anything in ranging from anime, comics, whatever it might be. Also, feel free to leave a comment in the sections, but also you can email me at fricketyfracktalkback@gmail.com, or reach out to me on Twitter at fricketyf, or reach out to me on Facebook at fricketyfrack on Instagram and Facebook. So please rate, review, and subscribe. Know that I love you. Most importantly, God loves you, and this is the way.